All right, now we are going to start with IELTS listening part 3. Again, this is going to be educational, multiple choice questions. We have 4 questions and the topic is mostly research based topic. 2 students are discussing their presentation or their research work or their dissertation. This content is academic, the context is academic, okay? And for example, this topic, woolly mammoth. Now, it is a prehistoric elephant-like creature you may have seen in cartoons or anywhere. That is called woolly mammoth. Now, if you don't know what woolly mammoth is, don't worry, they will tell you in the audio. Woolly mammoth on St. Paul's Island. Now, imagine an island, and on an island there was an animal creature, right? That is woolly mammoth. How will Rosie and Martin introduce their presentation? In the audio, there will be 2 characters, Rosie and Martin. In IELTS listening part 3, there are commonly 2 characters, but sometimes there are 3 characters also. 1 tutor and 2 students. Otherwise, 1 tutor, 1 student, or 2 students are discussing something educational. So, how will Rosie and Martin introduce their presentation? Underline how, introduce, presentation. Option A, drawing of woolly mammoth. So if they introduce with a drawing, A will be the right answer. Option B, timeline. Now what is timeline? In 18th century, woolly mammoth was this. In 1845, this happened. In 19, this happened, and all that. So with a timeline showing when woolly mammoth lived. And option C, video clip. That's it. So how are they going to introduce their presentation? With a drawing, with timeline, or with a video clip. Very simple, okay? So, and they will talk about all 3 options. One will say, Rosie will say, let's show a drawing first. And then Martin will say, that's pretty boring. Let's go for a video clip. And then she says, well, it's difficult to find any video clip. We cannot make it. I think we should start with a timeline. And the other one says, that's a good idea. When they say that's a good idea, I mean, they will deny. They will just refuse each other. No, we'll not do that, okay? So, let's see.
So, Rosie and Martin, let's look at what you've got for your presentation on woolly mammoths.
Okay, we've got a short outline here.
Thanks. So, it's about a research project in North America.
Yes, but we thought we needed something general about woolly mammoths in our introduction to establish that they were related to our modern elephant. And they lived thousands of years ago in the last ice age.
Maybe we could show a video clip of a cartoon about mammoths, but that'd be a bit childish. Or we could have a diagram. It could be a timeline to show when they lived, with illustrations.
Or we could just show a drawing of them walking in the ice. No, let's go with your last suggestion.
Good.
Okay, so correct answer is B. A is the wrong answer. Well done. B is the right answer. Good job. I'll explain it. I'll play it again. Have you noticed now there are 3 speakers? 1 tutor and Rosie and Martin. Okay, please listen to it again. Again, you need to identify the wrong answers.
So, Rosie and Martin, let's look at what you've got for...
Yeah, this Baba is very common in IELTS, okay?
Your presentation on woolks. So, it's about a research project in North America.
Yes, but we thought we needed something general about woolly mammoths in our introduction to establish that they were related to our modern elephant, and they lived thousands of years ago in the last ice age.
Maybe we could show a video clip of a cartoon about...
Okay, maybe we could show a video clip. What he said we need to show woolly mammoth and connect it with the modern day elephant. Now, in the past, woolly mammoth, and they have to connect it with the elephant. That shows a timeline when the woolly mammoth lived. But anyways, video clip.
They lived thousands of years ago in the last ice age.
Maybe we could show a video clip of a cartoon about mammoths, but that'd be a bit childish.
That would be a bit childish. Okay, let's eat samosa. Nahi, wazan badh jayega. So you're not eating samosa, okay? She herself said that would be a bit childish. So option C is Gone, eliminated.
Or we could have a diagram. It could be a timeline to show...
Or we could have a diagram. It could have the timeline. Now, diagram is not drawing a drawing of woolly mammoth in their natural habitat. She said diagram and the timeline.
And they lived, with illustrations.
Or we could just show a drawing of them walking in the ice.
We can show drawing of them walking in the ice. That is option A. Drawing of woolly mammoth in their natural habitat. Natural habitat is walking in the ice. He said that. Now listen.
No, let's go with your last suggestion.
Now,
Good.
let's go with your last suggestion, and her last suggestion was option B. So at times they do that. Third option they will tell you and then they will say, let's go with your last suggestion. Okay? So correct answer is B. See, Angrez cannot do IELTS. They will say, oh my God, it's so confusing. And they expect all these things from us who are the non-native speakers of English. Alright, दिल में जो कहना है कह लें, okay? ऊंची आवाज में नहीं. Okay, question number 22. What was surprising? Now, underline surprising. About mammoth tooth found by Russell Graham. Now, Russell Graham found the tooth of mammoth. And what was surprising about that? Now, out of three things, two things will be expected. Well, what is expected? That is not surprising. For example, option A. Embedded in jawbone. Tooth was embedded in jawbone. Jawbone is jabra. So tooth was there. If that was surprising for them, A will be the right answer. Unknown species of mammoth. Now mammoth has got a variety of species like elephants. They have a variety of species. So if the species was unknown and that was surprising for them, B will be the right answer. And option C, not as old as mammoth remains from elsewhere. So not as old as elsewhere. I mean, for example, if they found it like 10,000 years old, but this one was 8,000 years old. So what was surprising for them? You need to understand, not as old as mammoth remains from elsewhere. Like elsewhere, they found the remains of mammoth and they were 20,000 years old. But this one was 15,000 years old. Okay? Now let's see. Surprising thing. And for surprising, they will use some phrases and you can understand.
Then you're describing the discovery of the mammoth tooth on St. Paul's Island in Alaska and why it was significant.
Yes, the tooth was found by a man called Russell Graham. He picked it up from under a rock in a cave. He knew it was special. For a start, it was in really good condition, as if it had been just extracted from the animal's jawbone. Anyway, they found it was 6,500 years old.
So why was that significant?
Well, the mammoth bones previously found on the North American mainland were much less recent than that, so this was really amazing.
This was really amazing. Option? Well done, excellent. Not as old as mammoth remains from elsewhere. Okay, C is the right answer. I'm playing this one again. The last part is important.
Then you're describing the discovery of the mammoth tooth on St. Paul's Island in Alaska and why it was significant.
Why it was significant means surprising.
Yes, the tooth was found by a man called Russell Graham. He picked it up from under a rock in a cave. He knew it was special. For a start, it was in really good condition.
Okay, it was in really good condition. Now they are describing the condition.
As if it had been just extracted from the animal's jawbone.
And it has just been extracted from the animal's jawbone. They want to say it was in good condition. Now option A, still embedded in mammoth's jawbone? No, they said it was in a very good condition, that they thought that it was just extracted from animal's jawbone. So this shows it was in good condition. It's an idiom. Like as, for example, they said this apple is as good as you've just picked it from an apple tree, right? Like that. So it's not A.
Anyway, they found it was 6,500 years old.
Okay, they found it was. It means that tooth they found it was 6,500 years old.
Anyway, they found it was 6,500 years old.
So why was that significant?
Why was that significant?
Well, the mammoth bones previously found on the North American mainland.
Okay, mammoth bone previously found in the North American mainland, elsewhere. For elsewhere, they use the word North American mainland.
Were much less recent than that.
Okay, they were much less recent than that. So, much less recent than that means this is the recent one. The other ones were much less recent than that. Means they were not that old. So, this one is not that old. Okay, C will be the right answer. Question number 23. Students will use animated diagram. Underline animated diagram to demonstrate how mammoths. Now, what is the purpose of animated diagram? To demonstrate what? Became isolated on the island. So, if the animated diagram will show how they became isolated on island. Option B, spread from island to other areas. So, option A is isolated. Option B is spread. Like this animal spread to other areas. And option C, coexisted with other animals. Means they lived happily with other animals like elephants, zebras, giraffes, deer. They live together happily, no problem, right? The problem comes when a lion or tiger comes there, okay? So, coexisted. Option C, spread to other areas. Option B, became isolated. Means, for example, they were on an island, they were on a piece of land, and then because of rising sea, that became an island and they were just there. So, let's see, what do they say about that? Purpose of diagram, animated diagram.
Then we're making an animated diagram to show the geography of the area in prehistoric times. So, originally, St. Paul's Island wasn't an island. It was connected to the mainland, and mammoths and other animals, like bears, were able to roam around the whole area.
Then the climate warmed up and the sea level began to rise, and the island got cut off from the mainland. So those mammoths on the island couldn't escape. They had to stay on the island.
And in fact, the species survived there for thousands of years after they'd become extinct on the mainland.
So, why do you think they died out on the mainland?
No one's sure.
Okay, so what are they showing in the diagram? Option A, became isolated on the island. They were living there. It was not island, it was the part of mainland, and then the sea level began to rise and it became an island and all that. A will be the right answer. Okay, shall I play it again? No? Yeah, just once.
Then we're making an animated diagram to show the geography of the area in prehistoric times. So, originally, St. Paul's Island wasn't an island.
Okay, originally it wasn't an island, so became isolated on the island. When he says it wasn't an island, it means it became an island.
It was connected to the mainland, and mammoths and other animals, like bears, were able to roam around the whole area.
Okay, coexisted with other animals on the island? No, they're saying they ran around with the other animals, right?
Then the climate warmed up and
Yeah, the climate warmed up, right? This is what we call global temperature.
the sea level began to rise, and the island got cut off.
And the island got cut off, right? So this is what they're going to show in animated diagram. So correct answer is A. Question number 24. According to Martin, what is unusual about the date of Mammoth's extinction on the island? So, according to Martin means you will listen to Martin carefully. Unusual. Unusual means special about the date of extinction. So, what is special about the date of extinction? Extinction means like dinosaurs are extinct now. Any animal species that is no more on the planet Earth, we call it extinction or extinct. So date of Mammoth's extinction on the island. What is unusual? How exact it is. If the date is exact and this is unusual, A will be the right answer. How early it is. How early means it happened earlier. And how it was established. Method with which they established the date. If the method is unusual, C will be the right answer. If the date is early and that is special about it, then B is the right answer. And if the date is exact, then A will be the right answer. So let's see.
Then we're making an animated diagram to show the geography of the area in prehistoric times. Anyway, next we'll explain how Graham and his team identified the date when the mammoths became extinct on the island. They concluded that the extinction happened 5,600 years ago, which is a very precise time for a prehistoric extinction. It's based on samples they took from mud at the bottom of a lake on the island. They analysed it to find out what had fallen in over time. Bits of plants, volcanic ash, and even DNA from the mammoths themselves. It's standard procedure, but it took nearly 2 years to do.
So, correct answer came in the beginning, how exact it is. 5,006 years, right? Just listen to this first part.
Anyway, next we'll explain how Graham and his team identified the date when the mammoths became extinct on the island. They concluded that the extinction happened 5,600 years ago, which is a very precise time for a prehistoric extinction.
Which is a very precise time for a prehistoric extinction. So unusual about the date, it is very precise, right?
It's based on samples they took from mud at the bottom of a lake on the island.
Okay.
They analysed it to find out what had fallen in over time.
All right. Now, let's go on. We've got questions 25 to 30. And this question type is called matching. And you may get matching in listening part 2 as well. So, matching, what action will the students take for each of the following sections of their presentation? Now, sections of presentation, and you have to match them with actions. Actions mean what will they do? Sections of presentation are introduction, discovery of mammoth tooth, initial questions, and all that. So when they give you half minute to read the questions, will you read questions or actions? Actions, they are more important. Questions will come directly one by one in the same order, and they will use the same wording for questions. But for actions, they will change the wording. Now let's see how it is. Make it more interactive. In IELTS, I have seen this several times. Whenever they use the word make it more interactive, they say involve the audience, ask the audience, or allow the audience to ask some questions, or you can ask the audience. So that means make it more interactive. Option B, reduce visual input. Visual input can be PowerPoint, it can be diagrams, pictures, and all that. So they need to reduce it. It will say we'll cut it by half. There are so many pictures, so we need to cut them by half. Cut them by half means reduce visual input. Add personal opinion. For that, we will give our own point of view. We will give our own viewpoint. Our own viewpoint, what we think about it, that means add personal opinions. Option D, contact one of the researchers. They will say, for example, for this, I will talk to Mr. ABC, he has done some research on it, so he will tell us. So if they use the name of a researcher, option D will go there. Make detailed notes. If they say, well, the notes are quite insufficient at the moment, I will add more to the notes. Or we need to write a lot of notes on that. Option F, find information online. Very simple. Whenever they use the word online, they will say, I will check it on the website. There is a web source. There is an online thing and I will check it there and all that. Option G, check timing. Now check timing means how long it is. For example, if they're delivering a presentation, they'll say, I want to see how long the presentation will take. How long will it take means check timing. Okay. Next, organize content more clearly. Organization. If they say at the moment it's all jumbled up, so we need to organize things properly. So it's going to be organization of the presentation. Now, question number 25, sections of presentation. The first part of presentation is introduction. What are they going to do with it? All right.
So why don't you quickly go through the main sections of your presentation and discuss what actions needed for each part?
Okay. So for the introduction, we're using a visual. So once we've prepared that, we're done.
I'm not sure. I think we need to write down all the ideas we want to include here, not just rely on memory. How we begin the presentation is so important.
You're right.
I think we need to write down all the ideas here. We should not trust our memory. Option C is add personal opinion. She's not saying our own ideas. She said, I think we need to write all the ideas here. Option E, well done. Make detailed notes. Please listen to it again.
So why don't you quickly go through the main sections of your presentation and discuss what actions needed for each part?
Okay. So, for the introduction, we're using a visual.
Okay, for the introduction, we are using the visual. Now, reduce visual input, they don't mention.
So once we've prepared that, we're done.
Okay, once we prepared that, we are done.
I'm not sure. I think we need to write down all the ideas we want to include here.
Okay, I think we need to write down all the ideas we want to include here. So all the ideas means make detailed notes, right? Okay, let's go on. Question number 26, discovery of mammoth tooth.
The discovery of the mammoth tooth is probably the most dramatic part, but we don't have that much information, only what we got from the online article. I thought maybe we could get in touch with the researcher who led the team and ask him to tell us a bit more.
Great idea.
Great idea. We could contact the researcher and ask him. That is, contact one of the researchers. D will be the right answer. Okay. Question number 27. Initial questions asked by researchers.
What about the section with the initial questions asked by the researchers? We've got a lot on that, but we need to make it interesting.
We could ask the audience to suggest some questions about it and then see how many of them
we could ask the audience. So we could ask the audience means make it. All right. So let's go on. Next we've got, which question number is that? 28. Further research carried out on the island.
Then the section on further research carried out on the island, analysing the mud in the lake. I wonder if we've actually got too much information here. Should we cut some?
I don't think so, but it's all a bit muddled at present.
Yes, maybe it would be better if it followed a chronological pattern.
I think so.
Okay, it's all muddled at present. So if we follow the chronological pattern, what does that mean? Organize the content more clearly. It's all muddled. He said, should we cut some? She said no, right? So G will be the right answer. H will be the right answer for that. That is, organize the content more clearly. Okay, let's just focus once again.
Then the section on further research carried out on the island, analysing the mud in the lake. I wonder if we've actually got too much information here. Should we cut some?
I don't think so.
Right, should we cut some? I don't think so.
But it's all a bit muddled at present.
Yes, maybe it would be better if it followed a chronological pattern.
Okay,
I think
it's better
so.
if we follow the chronological pattern, means to organize it. To follow the chronological pattern means to organize it. Let's go on. Question number 29, findings and possible explanations.
The findings and possible explanations section is just about ready, but we need to practice it so we're sure it won't overrun.
I think it should be okay, but yes, let's make sure.
So, you missed it actually. Finding and possible explanation, that is ready.
The findings and possible explanations section is just about ready, but we need to practice it so we're sure it won't overrun.
Okay, we need to practice it so that we make sure we don't run over time or something like that.
Need to practice it so we're sure it won't overrun.
I think it should...
won't overrun. It won't. It will not overrun. Overrun is something that goes beyond the time limit. So that is option G, check timing. They use the word it won't overrun. Okay, so G will be the right answer. Question number 30.
In the last section, relevance to the present day, you've got some good ideas, but this is where you need to move away from the ideas of others and give your own viewpoint.
Okay, we'll think about that.
All right, this says you need to go away from the ideas of others and give your own viewpoint. So that is Adds personal opinions, and correct answer is C. You will only write A, B, C, D as your answers, okay? Good.